morning. How you doing, everybody? It's Sean Shapiro. Helps to press the right button. I'm known as the voiceover cop, and this is Ask a Traffic Cop because I'm a former traffic cop. That's right. As of last year, I left the Toronto Police Service. I was a traffic officer, and more specifically, a media relations officer, and assigned to the Traffic Safety Programs Office, where I talk to people about traffic safety and stuff and things. In any case, I have left the police service and I continue to do the outreach, the education that I love doing so much, even though I'm no longer a member of the service. What I am a member of is something called Better Traffic. It is a not for profit that wants to change the way we learn and disseminate such magical information, but most importantly, make laws easy to understand. The Highway Traffic Act can be like a spaghetti mix of just a mess. Yeah, it's hard to read if you don't know what you're looking for. In addition, if you Google things, it tends to be a jumbled mess there too, with many different versions of interpretations. So I want to give you the police perspective, the same message I've been giving for years in an easy to understand way. So we'll talk about things. If you've got questions, I've got answers. I want to help you understand stuff so you know about stuff before you do stuff, and that way you don't get charged with stuff. That tends to be the result, whether it be a ticket for just having that noisy exhaust or a collision that ensues because you didn't do the right thing, either driving or equipment wise. So let's get into it. A couple of shout outs this morning. We've got Turbo ST 2.3 who wants to know about turning. Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. Looks like they're in Illinois, but and they rephrase it, so I know what they're talking about. We'll look into your Illinois law. Although I am a specialist in Ontario law, we can googly goo and interpret what the actual law says in Illinois too. By the way, if you have friends and family in other provinces outside of Ontario, I'm trying to get hold of my my good buddy from Alberta. I don't know why I'm putting on that accent to talk about him. I'm talking to Logan Grant. He is a constable, a community constable in Brooks, Alberta. He does traffic enforcement, and we're going to be, we might see him today. I don't know. I threw out an invite. I don't know if he's even seen it. He could be sleeping. It's early. It's 2 hours behind us. He's probably not sleeping. He's probably at work, but he's probably out there making people happy by giving them tickets, like signing his autograph all over the place. In any case, if you've got police officers or friends in traffic units across the country, I'd love to talk to them. You can always send them to trafficcop.ca. That's my link tree where they can reach out and say, I'd like to be on your show. I'd like to represent my community and see how the laws here and the rules here differ from that of the magical province of Ontario. Yeah. So if you would be so kind as a TikToker, please tap the screen till your fingers go numb. It helps send likes to the stream. If you wouldn't mind sharing it with your friends, if you know people who drive or they will soon to be drivers, or if you just want to settle that score with your parents who say something is legal when it's probably not, or vice versa. I've been known to settle a number of family feuds, but send them the links to come in because a reference, a referral from you means a lot. And if you're not watching on YouTube, know that you can actually get a pretty good experience watching on YouTube because I can actually YouTube or X, we can put your comments on screen. Sadly, TikTok doesn't work quite as well right now. It used to, but doesn't anymore. And that makes me sad. It makes me sad. A couple of quick shout outs to Rick, who is jumping in on Instagram. We've got Bernhard, who's coming in this morning with a dad joke, which is a good time to say, hey, if you've got a dad joke, let me know, because at the end of the show, I like to read those dad jokes. Yeah, it's a thing I do. I like them. And then Canadian Finlander, who wants to know about some stuff and things. We'll get to you in 1 second. Stephen just popped in with a comment. We'll get there in a second, too. B was the first question in, so we'll start there. Coming in from X, can you fold your license plate at the bottom? Ontario and numbers are still fully legible. I'm glad you bring that up because most people think you can do whatever you want as long as you are legible. Now, many people are on motorcycle and they want to bend things to change their look. First of all, why would you want to bend it? What's the purpose? But aside from the purpose which is simply for my curiosity, you can't modify or damage that plate. It doesn't belong to you. It's a property of the ministry. I know you paid for it, but it's a property of the ministry. It can be taken back at any time, and it's not yours. So no, you could be charged actually by modifying the plate. Could be arrestable even. Don't think you're doing that. I don't think that modifying it, or the charge for modifying it would be appropriate in your case. But you should know that it's possible. In any case, yeah, don't do that because you don't want to get in trouble. Trouble bad. Now, could you do other things with it? Like, first of all, where are you mounting it? Because if you're trying to get it into a weird space, like the rules say in the back, it has to be illuminated and of course legible, placed in a conspicuous place, whether it be where the vehicle manufacturer determined was appropriate or somewhere that you determine is appropriate, but it has to be visible. And okay, so here's the information: to fit in the grill. So probably talking the front grill, because I don't think any car has a rear grill, but maybe some do. Anyway, front grill. Yeah, I'd have to. I mean, that's still a conspicuous place, but if you're going to make it fit, either place it behind. So it's not. Someone might argue it's not conspicuous because it has to be visible not at a specific angle, but it has to be. It has to be. Tow hook adapter best solution. Maybe don't put it in the grill. Just saying. All right, but if you got more to ask about that, we'll go from there. LJ says, "Good morning, Sean. Yeehaw! Awesome. So I love Suno. That song that you heard at the intro was created by Suno.com. They're an AI song generator. I subscribe to them. I think they're worthy of payment because I have so much fun with them. Punch in a couple of keys and you get a song that is custom made for you. I can't tell you how many. This is not a paid promotion. It's just I'm a really big fan. Punch in a couple of keys and my kids are laughing nonstop. I can't tell you. Like the first, just so good, so good. It's like ChatGPT, but musically. Anyway, check it out. You can get a free account. Gives you some free credits to play with. I'll put a link on screen later. In any case, I'll flag the dad joke for later because I had that. Yes, reminder, dad jokes are awesome. Okay, we've got, so the question from Turbo ST 2.3 is it illegal to turn up a windshield? And then he corrected it and said, tint up a windshield. And oddly enough, I'm not aware of Illinois law, but I know who is. Let's see here. Tint laws for Illinois. See if we get an answer here. What is the law of the land? The law permits non-reflective tinting in the top 6 inches of the windshield. Applying tint to the rest of the windshield is prohibited. It further says that sedans' front side windows must allow more than 35% of light in, which is interesting. We have to allow 70% of the light in Ontario. Well, 35% is pretty dark. That's wow. Backside windows must allow more than 35% of light in. That's also interesting because we can make it as dark as we want. It's only the front, left and right of the driver that are regulated at all. Well, and the windshield. Rear windows must allow more than. So basically, I'm getting this for sedans. That's the deal. Every window no more than 35%. Sorry, 35% of light must come in. Well, that's just a weird way of writing it, but whatever. Let's see here. An SUV and vans. Oh, interesting. So SUVs and vans, it's the front side windows must, what? Weird. Whoa. So in SUVs and vans, you can only tint to 50% because you have to have, that's interesting that they have a different level of tint based on the type or status of the vehicle. Backside windows can be any darkness, which is what we have in Ontario, and rear window can be any darkness. What an interesting thing. I am going to make a blog post about this. Thank you very much for bringing this to my attention, Turbo, because I done learned something. How awesome. Just to jump out and say greetings and salutations from Akela Draconis, who was late because of meetings, but we forgive you. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Oh, yep. Yes. Yes, you did, Akela. Yes, you did see my old studio in the media. I'm not going to talk about that. But for anyone who knows, well, you know. Okay. What are the rules of turning right when there is a green left arrow? That's from Canadian Finlander, who came in. He was one of the first people in the room. And since I can cut and paste, it's a little clunky, but I can do it. Let's put that on screen. So there's an advanced screen that's turning. So vehicle traffic is coming across. They've got the advanced. You have a red light And can you make a right turn on red? Well, yes, you can, but you must ensure that you can do that safely. Your turn must be able to be completed safely. They haven't advanced, you must stop and wait. So they have the right of way with the advanced. If it was a green for you and a green for them, they would actually have to ensure that their priority would be to ensure that because they're crossing over a line, live lane of traffic, you would have the right of way. And while both people have to ensure that they're doing the right thing safely, the onus in that situation is more on the person making a right turn when it's a green arrow. Now, does that mean that one person can get away with doing something and the other person can't? In the event of a collision, there's going to be a division of responsibility. And insurance companies do things differently than the police. The police will look at what you did and whether or not we can charge you for it, which is different than what the insurance companies will do, which is determine the fault and then subrogate. They'll basically divide that, and there's the word is on the tip of my tongue. What is it? Contributory negligence. That's the word I was looking for. And they will determine if they can blame the other person for a portion of it to reduce the costs, right? So, okay, that person was 37.8% at fault while the other person was. Yeah, they do things different than the police. I don't much care what they do because it's not my bag. That's their thing. Love these mugs. They're available at the Toronto Police gift shop. It's called the 808 at headquarters. I don't know if I bought the last. I was going to get a whole set of them, but I realized, I forgot. But Hyacinth at the gift shop sold me this one, and I need to go get more because I only have one, and I like it a lot. Just saying. Oh, I meant to turn off the other comment and then flag this comment. So let's flag the dad jokes for later. Ignore it if you read it. We'll come back to it. Akela always comes with the dad jokes and the Star Wars dad jokes. If you got dad jokes, I want to hear them. I want to know because they're important. You got to laugh in this world. There's so much to be unhappy about. You got to find things to make you smile. Smiling's important. Come on. Peter John Williams says, "Morning, brother. Morning, brother. Back at you. Appreciate the morning message. I love. I got to tell you, I really like doing this. I mean, people say, well, what are you doing? Aren't you retired? Go watch grass grow or something, or in this case, snow melt. But I do this not only because I enjoy it. I want to make roads safer. I want to help you out. It's a big deal for me. It's why I was a cop, and why can't I do this now that I'm not a cop? I still have the same information. I still have the same contacts, and now I've started a not-for-profit called Better Traffic, which wants to make this available to everybody, which is why I've got sponsors on the back wall behind me. And that is to help pay for doing this because we want to keep growing and improve and get more equipment and get more police services on board. I want to have guests beside me. I want to have my friends at the Toronto Police beside me. I want to have my friends from other police services joining in the conversation, representing. Like, I need a cop from Illinois that could have described the law there instead of me looking it up because it's more fun when you have friends online. Now, Steven says, just got into chat. I wanted to know if it was Frank. No, it was Logan Grant, not Frank, that I was inviting to join me. Who's Frank? Where's Frank? You should call Frank too. Josh Vader says, my car is lowered, but I wanted to know if I try to avoid potholes, if I can get pulled over for swerving. Well, isn't that interesting? Because we talk about this all the time. I say we, I mean, my friends, my family, we talk about the people who are on these super duper lowered cars that are all over the road because they're avoiding the oopsie-doos. Now, how low did you go? Because there's a level that looks kind of cool, and then you get to the point where it's kind of silly. You have a car that, and Josh, I love you, man. We met at the car show. We were chatting, but there's a certain point where it's too low. Like, we're looking for body rub between tires or frame. I guess it's not body rub, but it's a frame rub. Rub with tires. That's what we're looking for. And of course, we're looking for a functional suspension system for tickets. But I can appreciate that there's some potholes that could swallow a small country. And that's just because we're in Canada. It's pothole season or it's winter. And, repairing potholes. It's a big deal. There's a very small window of opportunity to drive with nice roads. In any case, the deal is that you could, if you're swerving all over the place, and it looks like you're impaired, you might be pulled over to be investigated. If it's careless, if you're actually putting others at risk, like you're swerving and other people are swerving to avoid you, because you could be seeing yourself into a careless driving charge. Interesting it's an interesting thing. At the end of the day, you know that if it's a really bad pothole and your car is damaged, did you know you can go after the city? The city has a program where they'll reimburse you for a cracked wheel or a tire damage. In fact, Erin Urquhart, I was just talking to her about this concept not that long ago. I think it was at the auto show we chatted. It was at the auto show we chatted about it, and they didn't pay for everything, but they certainly paid for a bunch of damage that they caused because they hadn't maintained the roads properly. I wonder if private property should have the same thing. If they have a terrible, you know, situation on their road, they should be responsible for it. They're inviting people onto the property. Like if someone breaks into your house and you have a hole and they fall, or if you don't salt your stairs and they fall, like you're responsible as the owner of that property. Here's the sad one. This one, we have a lot of screwy things, but let's say somebody breaks into your house and you've got like a trap, a booby trap. The staircase has no banister and they fall into the basement because it's unfinished. You're responsible for that. I mean, they're garbage for breaking into your house, but they still sue you and they might win. Tony says many police officers' personal cars have illegal tints. Tony, you make a very good point, and it's not right. And those people should not have illegal tint. And I know I've spoken to people. I remember there was somebody at the Ontario Police College when I went there, and they said, I'm finally a police officer. I can finally get those tints and not get tickets for them. That's a really bad attitude. It is. It's not the way police officers should conduct themselves. The rules are for everybody. I don't like it. I call people out on it. How are we supposed to tell people not to break laws when people are breaking laws? Don't like it. So I'm with you. If you see it and you want to report it, by all means do it, and they can answer for themselves. There's no get out of jail free. Okay. Bernhardt says, keep up the Traffic Cop After Dark AI theme song with Barry White. Yeah. So if you missed it, Monday there was a cyber attack apparently on X, and there was all sorts of internet issues. We couldn't go live. We went live 40 minutes late, and it sucked. So to make up for that, I decided to create the inaugural Ask a Traffic Cop After Dark. And it was slow. It was chill. You know, I liked it. Yeah, but I tried 7:00. Maybe 4:00's better. But maybe it's like soon to be after dark, or maybe I do really late night because just trying different times. But I appreciate that I should try it again. If you want to watch that, it's basically the same thing. It's just I had a different backdrop. What did it look like? Can I show you my after dark? Here, I'll show you my after dark. Can I even find my after dark logo? Here it is. There we go. That's the after dark vibes right there. Anyway. We got Matter Daddy. What's the best way to fight a speed trap camera? The best way to fight it is not to speed. Why would you be speeding? I mean, aren't you someone who's following the rules? I don't think you really have a way to fight a camera. I mean, by all means, you have a right to go to court and waste time, and I think it's a waste of time. First of all, a speed camera in particular is just saying, we got you. Dead to rights, they got you because they've got you on camera with a regulated system or a the heck was the word I'm looking for, a system that has been calibrated. Thank you, and they've got photographic evidence, and they don't need to know who was driving. It's not a ticket like the one that you get from a police officer where the driver's license is at risk. It's a cash fine, and it's issued to the registered owner, which means if you loan the car to your brother, your cousin, your sister, your mother, they don't get impacted. The driver doesn't get a ticket. It's just the registered owner. If you want to avoid those, don't break the law. And it is the tax. It's the oopsie-doo tax if you just made a mistake. But you're making a mistake by like a 10% margin usually. There's no real excuse for doing it. Just saying. Just saying. JJ123 says, how long was your career with TPS? I was a member of the Toronto Police Service for just shy of 25 years. I started as an auxiliary. I then became a court officer simultaneously while being an auxiliary. And then I also, then I traded in 2 uniforms after becoming a sergeant with the auxiliary police and a supervisor within the court system. I then traded those 2 uniforms in and became a police constable, which I then served in 12 Division for a couple of years, and then came to traffic services, which is where I wrote out my career. I was a motor squad officer. I was a CIB officer. I was a B platoon officer. I had so much fun. And then I got injured in 2018 on a motorcycle crash on duty, And then it ended up going into G platoon, which is our administrative platoon, where I got into traffic safety programs, and then reinvented myself and became what you see now, a beard wearing. No, I grew the beard out after I retired, but I went and started doing online education because, especially with the vid, I was inside. We couldn't engage people the way we used to in person, going to all these events. So I started doing stuff online, and it really took off. Hey, if you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I used to be a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and now I talk to you about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff right here online, wherever you're watching us. And this also gets downloaded and then posted on podcast platforms, so you can watch the replays on YouTube. All the episodes, like 500 episodes of at least an hour long each, which is a whole lot of time invested in just knowledge being spewed out into a recording device. And then the podcasting platform, so you can download this, synchronize it so all new episodes hit your phone, and then you can listen to it while you drive. You don't get to ask questions, but chances are somebody's asking a question that you want to know the answer to, and whether you know most of it, you just test your knowledge, or you're learning new stuff. We have a lot of fun, and yeah. So if you would be so kind, you could do me the solid of sharing this with, regardless of the platform. If you watch me on TikTok, hit the screen, show likes, share it by hitting the share button. You don't even have to actually share it. You could just hit that link button. It'll help the stats and help do it. But it's even better if you send it to someone you know. Anyone in your life who's about to get a license, I'm going to start a series talking about the G1 program. I'm going to start helping people learn and understand what the rules are. We're going to go page by page of the G1 book, and I think it's going to be really an awesome experience. So if you don't follow me on YouTube, please follow me on YouTube, because I'm trying to hit 1,000. I want to hit 1,000. I want to actually monetize there. I'd like to see some ad revenue come through. It's a thing, you know. All of this costs money. I want to try and recoup some costs, and that's what this is. Doesn't change the fact that I want to do this regardless if it's coming out of my pocket or not. I mean, I've got some help, but they're not. I'm not getting a salary. I can tell you that. It's not a complaint. I'm just telling you, because people think, well, you got this big old pension, you can afford to do this. I still have to work. It's not I'm not on a pension. I left before pension. All right. On to stuff and things. What is the tolerance for a speed camera? Sort of. I kind of just mentioned that. I don't know the exact number, and I don't know the exact number because it depends. It depends on the jurisdiction you're in. They have control over it. They don't want to tell us, because if they tell us, we'll tell you, and then you'll just go exactly that less one to avoid getting a ticket. I would estimate, my experience tells me it's about 10% of the actual limit. So if it's, do the math. If you're in a 30 and you get hammered with a ticket, and these are all in community safety zones, so that's a thing. And the deal is that you shouldn't be speeding. So don't speed. It's the best way. People say, I can't do 30. My car goes faster if I. No, your car is broken if your car does 30 without you pressing the gas. It's not hard to follow the speed limit. Just saying. Now, Brandon says, just curious, someone drives a fast car doesn't mean you should bully them into speeding up and breaking the law. Say this again. Just because someone drives a fast car doesn't mean you should bully them into speeding up and breaking the law. I'm not picking up on the context, Brandon, but but no, fast cars, knowing that you can go fast, doesn't mean you have to go fast. You can appreciate a fast car while it goes slow. They're even better. You can appreciate the lines, when they're going slow. Just if you learn how to fight, doesn't mean you got to kick someone's butt to know that you know how to fight. It's the same thing. Knowing power, having power, doesn't mean using it. It's using it responsibly. And in terms of a fast car, take it to the track. Now, this is a great time to plug the Elliott Lake Ice Fishing.ca. So it's Elliott Lake Ice Fishing.ca. It is a derby that's going on this weekend in Elliott Lake. It's a 5-hour drive roughly from Toronto, but you could walk away with $20,000 or $30,000 depending on how many people register for the day. So if you are an ice fisher, an angler, if you are someone who has a fishing license and wants to go have a fun day, it's $100 plus HST, so $113, and you can go out and actually try your hand at winning the longest fish. They've also got a whole bunch of prizes. I think they've got 10 big prizes. If you're an angler or you know an angler, send them to Elliott Lake Ice Fishing.ca. And the reason that brought up in the memory that triggered is it's being hosted by my buddy Blaze, who is a police officer with Toronto Police, but he also has a not-for-profit called Right Track Racing, and the proceeds, the benefits of the it's a 50-50 essentially. So whatever the registration is, if they get 40 grand, 20 grand goes to the winner with the longest fish, and 20 grand goes to Right Track Racing to help fund their education program. And it's all about taking it to the track. So that's something awesome. If you're in the area, let me know. Oddly enough, I did a little live stream with them yesterday, and we had Steve from from Elliott Lake come in and talk about it. And now I really want to go, but I can't go this weekend. I do, however, want to try and go to Comic-Con this weekend because I think that would be cool, or Fan Expo, I should say. It's Fan Expo. Yeah. Coffee. Coffee good. First coffee of the day. All right. Follow up from Brandon says Sean is lying. He secretly drives a black Trans Am and fights crime. Wouldn't that be cool? Batman's awesome. Now Batman never had a Trans Am, did he? But I do like Batman. The whole concept of just that superhero that's just a human with although I prefer to be Superman. I it's my family crest, but I don't fly. All right. Papa Uniform November. I don't have the whole thing here, but he believes that Doge needs to go through City Council and TPS and clean it up. You think there might be some extra wasted funds? I think every organization gets messy after a while. It's the problem of being big, and then how do you watch everything? Like I miss comments on this live stream. Never mind running an organization of that size. But definitely the government's very governmenty. Okay. We got I know. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Stephen was talking about the Pinal County, Arizona Traffic Enforcement Unit, talking about Deputy Slope. And we have spoken, and he does Fridays with Frank. Thank you. When you said Frank, I didn't know what you were talking about. I thought you were talking about the Alberta special constables. But yes, I do know Frank, and we've talked about getting together, and it hasn't happened. I might even just take a drive down there or a flight down there. I want to go to Arizona anyway. I've never been to Arizona. I've never been to Arizona. I've always talked about it. I had a friend who used to have a place there, and I never managed to get there. Okay. Oh, Matter Daddy following up on the whole combating the cameras. Oh, 13 over. Yeah, he was doing 13 over when he got a ticket. You can try. Like if you go to the city of Toronto, they have certificates for calibration on their website. Check it out. You might find one that's out of date, and you can try that angle. I've not heard many people having success fighting with them. I just from experience. I have heard of people saying, I've got 4 kids and no job, and I'm taking responsibility. It wasn't me driving. I lent it to Bob. Bob's an ass. But at the end of the day, I'm taking responsibility because it was my car, but I don't have the money to pay it. Could you give me time to pay, or could you reduce the fine? And that's something that I have seen people have success with. And Steve and I agree. Fridays with Frank is awesome. I watch his videos. I laugh. I love it. I wish I was out there on the road with him. It's so much fun. JJ123 says, thank you for your service, Sean. If you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you became sworn? I think it was, how old was I? I think it was 38. I think it was 38 when I became sworn. I was sworn as a special constable, but as a police officer sworn, I think I was 38. So if you're thinking about doing it, you should definitely do it. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about joining the Toronto Police or becoming a police officer in any jurisdiction. It's not something you should wait for. If you are interested, and my buddy YYZ Traffic Cop put up a great video today or yesterday, and he said, do you want a job that pays $150,000? In fact, I think I should play that video for you because I think it's just awesome. Stand by. I'm going to, maybe I can get this to work. One second. First of all, tps.ca for careers. We're going to share this on screen. That is the first step here. All right. The careers page, my favorite page, I talk about it all the time. Go here, tps.ca/careers, and you can go read about all it is to become a police constable. They're hiring now. They're hiring in police services across Canada, across the USA, across the planet. are looking for good people to serve their communities. Policing is that job that you either feel it in your bones that you need to be one to serve the community, to help people, truly help people, or it's not for you. And don't try and do it if it's not for you, because you're putting your life at risk. You're doing something that you're either going to love or you're going to hate. If you're going to hate it, don't do it. But the media has painted the police in such a bad light, and I blame them for a lot that's going wrong in the world right now, because they've supported this concept of the police being bad. No, there are bad cops, there are bad doctors, bad lawyers, bad priests, bad clergy. Like there's bad everybody, but the vast majority are good. People are generally good, and unfortunately, many people with so many of the movements have vilified police, and now we don't have enough police, so we have lawlessness. How do you think this happened, where we have crime running rampant? Because we don't have enough police officers. Yeah. If you don't want to be a police officer, special constable is a great option. That's how I started. It used to be called court officer. Now it's special constable, and there's expanded responsibilities and roles available, from prisoner transportation to booking officers to um, being a special constable in the community, where you're actually called a divisional special constable. And I think they're all cross trained to do all the same. Like they rotate between jobs, but it's a great option if policing isn't for you. And one reason policing, you may not be a candidate for policing, is you have to have vision requirements. Well, many of the people who became court officers back in the day were people who couldn't get onto the police because of their, they had they didn't have proper color acuity. They were colorblind. Parking enforcement officer. Hi, Aaron. Parking enforcement officers are magical people too. They don't carry weapons. They're not arresting people, but they are trying to keep the city moving. They're incredibly important, and they don't get the love and respect they deserve. In fact, they get assaulted more often, which is maybe not selling the job, but they're important, and it's a great opportunity to be out and about, and freedom to work, not unsupervised but less supervised. And all these jobs, one of the most important things for me was to be out of the building, like being outside. I like outside. My kid used to say, outside. I want to go outside. Anyway, civilian roles. If you don't want to be in a uniform at all, know that there are options if the website responds. There we go. There's currently 4 positions open. This is a volunteer one. Chaplaincy. Ron Weiss, Toronto Police Rabbi, I just saw that he retired. He was a good friend, and apparently we got an opening for a rabbi, if you know one. But chaplaincy is a big deal. That's, again, a volunteer position. I've never looked at what this is. Wellness. Interesting. Do skills and strong. Yeah, okay. I don't qualify, but I was curious to see what it was. I've never looked at it. Oh, wait, I went too far back. Let's try and get back in there. There we go. Safety coordinator, wellness, an 18-month contract. Parking enforcement officer. How much does parking make? 75,677 to 82,486. A 40-hour rotating shift. Yeah, go read about it. This is an opportunity, and the job openings aren't always there. The other one is for comms operator, 77,846 to 102,276. What a great opportunity. This is very important. I don't know if you know what a comms operator is, but they are the fine folks who answer the phone when you call for help. They're the people who dispatch police officers to go to your house to help you. Like they are, isn't there communications operator? They're magic, and they speak with the authority of the chief when they tell a police officer to do something. And you don't just say, go here and help them. And you say, no, it doesn't work like that. They have authority, but it's a tough job. But it's a very rewarding job. And just a shout out to the folks who do it, like Jess, who works there and has a media account. We were hanging out at the auto show. So many good people there. So many friends of mine that work in that role. Just thank you for what you do. Auxiliary officer, volunteer opportunity, fantastic. Doesn't matter whether you do it in Toronto or somewhere else. It is a great way to serve your community. And if you're looking for a unique volunteer opportunity where you get trained, you get a uniform, you go out and do stuff like Santa Claus Parade, historically, all run by auxiliary police officers. I say run. All of the police you see on the parade route most often are auxiliaries. And that's a little known fact, but it is a fact. And you can tell the big thing is light powder blue shirts, and you can see under the Toronto Police logo or crest on the shoulder patch, it says auxiliary. Otherwise, there's not much to differentiate them. But some great training, and if you were thinking about a career in law enforcement, what a great way to try it out. Okay. There we go. Okay. Continuing there. All things sports. Saskatoon says, I saw this person doing a parallel park and they almost hit a person's car twice. I cringed. Um, I I watch people driving and I cringe too. And then I hit the record button on my dash cam so I can capture it and share it with you. I've got a couple of them in the queue I need to post. Yeah, it's just amazing. If you have videos, if you want to share them with me, you can do that by emailing voiceovercop@gmail. You can send me your videos. Voiceovercop@gmail.com. I'd love to see your dash cam videos. I'd love to comment on them and share them with the world because, you know, what's better way to do than to point a finger and stare and gawk at the person who can't drive. No, there's some really bad stuff that happens on the road, and it's great educational and talking point. So share stuff if you got stuff. Older brother just joined the York Regional Police. Awesome. Congratulations to the family. Welcome to the family message from me. And yeah, that's awesome. It's always good to hear when people join the job. I still think about I remember my badge ceremony. My friend's son just became a police officer, and it was almost emotional. We were sharing the experience. I was living vicariously through his you know his son's experiences, and it's a really proud moment, even for me. Like the extended like Uncle Sean. Knowing that that this young man has now become a police officer, I'm proud for him. It's an amazing thing. Okay, Greg Marshall wants to know, can I be charged if my wife is watching a video on her phone in the passenger seat? Possibly, maybe, Greg. So the what the rules are, or what the law says, is that under distracted driving, there's three charges. The first one is a handheld communication device. Obviously, it's if you are using, whether you're holding or using a handheld communication device, and that spans quite a number of products. It's a cell phone. It's anything capable of sending or receiving messages, or voice communication. So it's a cell plug. Oh, we got a problem. I think we're coming back. Wait. I just got an alert saying that we lost connection. Is it back? Do you still have voice? Oh, we're back. Things are moving again. Okay. It just this yellow thing came up and connection lost. So handheld communication device, we've got that covered. Then there's handheld entertainment device. So if that's I don't know if anyone has a non cell phone enabled device, but an iPad would be a handheld entertainment device if it wasn't connected to the internet, even if it was playing a stored movie. A portable DVD player, if anyone has any of these. The second time this week I've talked about portable DVD players, oddly enough. That would be a device. That would be. Now, that's clearly if you, the person who's driving, is using it, but you want to know about your wife using it. So if somebody says, hey, look at this Instagram post, and points the phone and clearly you're looking at the phone, that would be enough to to ticket you for it. Screen visible to driver. If it was mounted in a place that made it clearly visible to you, that would be eligible for a ticket. If they're on their phone and they're looking at it and they've angled it away from you, and you're not looking at it, that really wouldn't be grounds to charge you. Could someone lay the charge? They could lay the charge. Would it be reasonable to lay the charge? I would have to, as an officer, want to say I would have to see some very clear um, evidence of you engaged with looking at that. Because to say it's visible, like every billboard on the street is a screen visible to driver that's potentially entertaining. Um, I don't think it's enough to break the charge. An officer who's interested in laying that charge could try and you know say that that's enough, and then you'd be likely winning in court. But I think that again, if she says, "Hey, look," and you're looking and watching it, not paying attention to the road, that's a clear you're done. I'd ticket you. But if she's engaged and you're facing forward, that's not appropriate. So I think you'd be okay. What do we got here? In my car, it show Josh Vader says, in my car to show it's legal if I get pulled over for it, I would have to go to the MTO that it's modified. We were talking about your vehicle being lowered earlier. So you want to know what would you have to do? So a police officer pulling you over would inspect your car, likely. And we would have you turn the steering wheel lock to lock. We'd get in with a flashlight. We'd have a look. We'd see if there's any rubber any wear marks on the inside of the tire that would suggest that it made contact with the frame. We'd turn the other way. We'd look for any rub marks on the outside of the tire, the sidewall, to see if it made contact with the body. We'd look for damage to the body. It's not hard to find that evidence. We'd compress your suspension just by pressing down on your car. If it didn't move at all, your suspension is not functional, and that would be an issue. At that point, we would likely, if we determined that there was evidence of contact or if your suspension was non-functional, we would pull your license plates. You would have to get towed away, and you'd have to go apply for a new safety certificate. So it's a serious situation. If you're going to lower your vehicle, make sure you do it right. And generally speaking, 3 inches lower is the max you can go. It has to be done with a proper kit, not just chopping your springs. And in addition to that, there is a maximum and a minimum clearance from the center of your headlights to the ground. If you're outside of that, it's also not safe, and you would be charged. So there's a lot to think about. Make sure if you're lowering your vehicle, get it done by a professional. Boy Mom 8424 says life experience matters, and absolutely, yes. Because JJ 123 says, I'm 28 now, looking to apply, but I get intimidated with 21 to 24-year-olds being hired constantly. Well, historically, 32 to 34 was the prime age to be hired for a police position, because 21 to 24 was historically someone who doesn't have enough life experience, as Boy Mom pointed out. So 28, I think, is ideal. And because we've had fewer applicants, they can't say, well, we'll take the older one, because the older one isn't there. So you have better chances of being hired at 21 and 24 than ever before. But 28's perfect. Like my buddy's son just got hired. I think he's 22. Like, he's young, and he's now on the road as a copper. And congratulations to him if he's watching. Again, I can't say it enough. All Things Sports Saskatchewan says, my phone died, but I'm back. Well, I appreciate you charging for this. And did you hear what I was saying? Because I was responding to your cringe watching experience of parallel parking. Ball, with 2 Z's afterwards, says, my car does not have hands-free. Well, then either invest in a hands-free system, aftermarket Bluetooth headset, or don't use your phone while you're driving. That's the simple thing. I love the people who hold their phone and say, it's hands-free. No, that's speakerphone in your hand. Hey, if you're watching and you aren't already following, please do, regardless of the platform you're on. And if you want to really be kind, go to all my other platforms and follow me there too, because I'm on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. I even have an account on Twitch, but I'm not currently active there. Why am I asking you to do that? Because I want to hit 1 million followers. I just do. I wanted to do it when I was with the Toronto Police. I was on TikTok alone, I was at 673,000, but then I left them the account, which sadly they're not doing anything with right now, but 673,000 followers there. And I brought this account from about 14,000 to 42,000, but I want to hit 1 million. It's just a life goal. That's it. All right. What do we got here? What is the ticket for modding your car and not putting it through the MTO? Car pass safety with lower. Well, there's nothing to put. If you modify, what kind of modification do you have to put through the MTO? So if you pass safety after it was modded, you should be good to go, assuming you have a reputable mechanic who will stand by that safety certificate. In terms of MTO, the only thing you have to update on your ownership with the MTO is if you change the color of the car, if you change the number of cylinders or displacement in a motorcycle. There's not much else to tell them, as long as it's safe. It's more important to tell your insurance company about modifications, because they may change your rates. They may choose to deny you. I've heard many stories where they are where they will cancel the coverage because it is not the way they thought it was. Okay. Boy Mom says dispatches are amazing. They truly are. I think a couple of stuff it updated and I lost. Oh, here we go. John O2 says, do you miss day-to-day policing? I miss my friends, my family, my blue family there. I miss policing. Absolutely. I missed for 5 years being on the road while I was off the road, becoming a media guy, post collision. But I absolutely miss policing, and I miss the road. I miss being out and meeting people one on one. It's funny. It took me a while to wrap my head around the concept that the work I was doing online as a media relations officer, teaching people about traffic safety, was actually touching more lives online than I ever did as a police officer one on one. Because when I gave someone a ticket, I taught one person a lesson, maybe through osmosis, maybe because other people saw that traffic stop occur, maybe because they went and complained to their friends that they got a ticket. I got 25 people for every ticket I wrote, maybe on a good day. But here I'm talking to thousands of people, and it's valuable. So I'm as much as I miss doing the job. I miss being out on a police motorcycle and driving around, patrolling and running lights and sirens to stuff to help people. I, I even miss the heart wrenching stuff. I just miss it. But I love that I'm doing something that's still meaningful. But thank you for asking. Ah, All Things Sports Saskatchewan says if a learner hits someone's car, who's at fault? The registered owner of the car, or your drive, or the learner who's driving? All Things Sports says I'm not a learner, just curious. The driver's responsible for what they're doing. The passenger who's supervising them, and that in Ontario is the qualifying G-class driver's license holder who has 4 years experience, who's supervising a G1 driver while they're learning. The driver gets charged. Their license is impacted. However, the insurance of the person who's supervising gets impacted too. So it's not a good thing any way you do it. Here Now 905 says Sudbury is 4 to 5 hours and Elliott Lake is 2 hours from there. Oh, so we're talking 6 to 7 hours to go to the Derby. So are you going? Is it worth it? Go. You should go. It's a lot farther than I thought, but you should totally go if you're a fisher, if you're an angler. Yes. What is this? Turbo Taro says, I saw you in that TikTok video of the guy screaming. I don't know that. Tag me in that. I don't know what video that is. And someone did tag me on a video, and then I went to go look at it and it was blocked. Like they must have deleted the content or something. But please tag me in that. I want to know what video that is. A video of a guy screaming? Please share that. Oh yeah, we need to see that. Anyway, I sometimes go through and I don't notice that people put up a video and either mention me in it or what's it called, where they not a stitch but a side by side. What is it? I never do it. I don't know what it's called. And it's hilarious to watch some of these. I have a collection of them. They warm the heart even if they're angry. So Greg Marshall responding about I guess the red light cameras or speed cameras. Greg says they just about always offer extended time to pay based on experience from a friend of mine. Yeah, when it comes to any ticket, like if someone goes and says, like so many people are trying to get out of a ticket, they say I'm not guilty. Well, clearly you got a ticket for a reason, right? But when someone comes up and says I'm totally responsible, I want to take responsibility. However, I'm having financial difficulty. I think that they just go, really? You don't want to waste our time with a trial? You just want to like take responsibility? Really? Like I think they're shocked, and as a result, they're more willing to negotiate and give you a lesser fine, which is sort of what most agents. By the way, if agents and representatives and lawyers are great, but many things you could just go to court and say, hey, if I pled guilty, what would you give me as a deal? And you can negotiate most of those things on your own. I mean, if it's egregious, if it's bad, you need representation because you're gonna get spanked hard. But if it's something minor, you might be able to negotiate a reduction on your own without spending any money. Just saying. And for all the people who worry about points don't matter to anybody but the Ministry of Transportation. Like insurance companies don't care about points. Where points come into play is that if you accumulate too many of them, you're going to lose your license. And if you're a learner, a G1 or a G2, those are greater. You get more points. I'm sorry, it takes less points to trigger a suspension. So for you, points matter. But for a G-class driver, points don't matter so much because you got like 15 of them before you lose your license. And that's not saying it's okay. I'm just saying people focus on the wrong thing. Your insurance is going to get destroyed because of the conviction, regardless of the points. Just saying. All Things Sports Saskatchewan says, once I get my full license, I'm applying for my city's police service. Awesome. Yes, I caught that. That's amazing. Good for you. Yeah, you need a G class license. So many people don't drive and become much. I mean, they manage to continue to age without a license. Like I got my license the day I turned 16, at least my learner's permit. And back then it was called the 365, and there was no graduated licensing, so I got my G like a month later. In any case, I've driven for a long time, and I can't imagine not being a driver. But so many people growing up in big cities don't get them anymore. They wait until they're in their 40s until they get their license. It's beyond me. I don't understand that. I can't relate to it, but it's a thing. It's a thing. Okay. We got here. Kayla was talking about making some comments about speed camera fighting. It made him think of something which made him laugh. He says it involved physically going after the camera. It was funny. So do you remember seeing there was a couple of videos that made their way around the internet, and it was a guy who basically took a flash and sat inside of a box and waited for a car to come by and then would hit the button. It might have been in Russia, and then when people came like realized it was fake, he ran away. It was very funny. What I don't appreciate at all are the people who are damaging, vandalizing those cameras. I think it's gross. I like that they're finally putting them way up in the air and making it harder for people to damage them. But I think that those people are disgusting, damaging things meant to slow people down and save. No one just takes responsibility for themselves. Anyway, Jimmy says, how do tickets and demerits work if the license is out of province or even from the U.S.? So we have reciprocal agreements with the United States, at least some provinces do, and they will impact either way. So if you get a ticket in the States, you can get the demerit points here. The convictions will register here. Some states don't, get that information sent back. However, they will still hold that in their place. So if you go back to that state, you could be arrested for non-payment or you could be suspended from driving. Technically speaking, a suspension anywhere, especially within Canada, applies everywhere. And you can't go and get a license in another jurisdiction and then drive in the jurisdiction that you were suspended in. In fact, you can't drive anywhere. You're not supposed to have more than one license. Yeah. But I think I already covered the whole demerits. Just as a quick thing, demerits in general stay on your record for 2 years from the date of the offense, and convictions stay from 3 years from the date of conviction. But if you want more information on that sort of stuff, let me know. Brandon said, sorry for the rant earlier. I had a guy in a Tesla who wanted to race, and when I declined, he aggressively tailgated me and tried to force me off. Really? I thought that Tesla drivers were too busy meditating for peace in the world to be able to get aggressive and try and force you off the road. What's amazing is if I would have called the police at that point and I would have suggested that the cameras in his car would have had a record of that jackass type of driving. And I think that the Tesla would have had great evidence to offer because they would have likely had to seize the car to get anyway, I would have called police. Just saying. That pisses me off when I hear about aggressive drivers, bullies on the road. They need to lose their licenses. Okay. Mountie in Alberta here. Dougie, great to have you join the show. Oh, are you a traffic guy in Alberta or just a regular Mountie? Because there's we appreciate all the Mounties, but if you're a traffic guy, you should join the show and come talk about stuff. I will follow you back, Dougie. Feel free to reach out, but always looking for to talk to folks. I've got a couple of friends in Brooks, Alberta. Where are you posted in Alberta? And West Coast Pokey says Saskatoon has the craziest drivers. I've never been. I was supposed to go a couple years ago to speak on behalf of TIRF, the Traffic Injury Research Foundation, because I do speak about distracted driving across Canada. And unfortunately, and really unfortunately, my friend was murdered, and his funeral was right around then, so I didn't get to go. It was a sad time. But I never did get to go back, and I was supposed to meet with RCMP and the city and all sorts of people all over the province talking about traffic safety. Maybe I need to reinvestigate that, make that trip this year. Okay. Where to go? Okay. We talked about this. Manitoba shots. Is there a minimum speed for 100 kilometer an hour highway in Manitoba or anywhere? Because there are in some. Manitoba follows up and says, only because I have people going 60 to 70 a lot. I don't know. I don't know about Manitoba laws. Let's have a look. Are there minimum speeds in Manitoba? Going to my book of knowledge. Let's see what comes back. Frenchie says, I should have taken over that account. You know, I was hoping they were going to maintain it. It sort of was born on them not. So the fact that I'm still doing it is because there was a need for it, because they weren't. Azrael says, so weird not seeing you in uniform and wearing a gray hat. Yes. It's a different look. And I've got this big old beard now, so it's a very different look. Let's see here. In Manitoba, while there are established maximum speed limits, there's no universally posted minimum speed limits. Okay. And it looks like they have the same laws as we have here in Ontario. In Quebec, they do have a posted minimum, and I like the idea of posted minimums because it avoids the confusion. You know, unnecessary slow driving, which is the charge here in Ontario, is subjective. Do I think it's unreasonable? Is there a reason that they could be driving the speed that they're driving that would justify them doing it? Like if the vehicle is doing it 15 kilometers an hour on the 401, which is 100 or 110 in some areas, yeah, that's not something okay. That's going to get you a ticket. That's a disabled vehicle. Pull it over and wait until you can get a tow, because that's not safe. Period. Just saying. But doing 90, 80, 70 in a 100 is not unnecessarily, or it's not necessarily unnecessary slow driving or unreasonably slow driving. So there you go. By the way, I meant to mention this earlier. Dua Mitzvah says, good morning, Sean. Thank you for all the important information. Thank you, and I consider it a mitzvah to do that. And thank you for the shout out. Mitzvah is a good deed, if anyone is wondering, and I think that this is definitely doing a good deed, sharing that info, and helping people. Okay. Jacked Up followed the host. Thank you so much for the follow. By the way, if you are watching and you don't already follow me, please do. It's always nice to have more people here as part of the Ask a Traffic Cop, Voiceover Cop fam. I do this 3 days a week with a live stream, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mind you, I did go live, not really talking about traffic. We're talking about fishing yesterday. And I'm probably going to go live tomorrow just because. And that's because it's March break and I want to, make sure I see as many people as possible who may not normally get to see the show. So many people, when I went live at 4 p.m., last week, and 7 p.m. on Monday, were like, I never get to watch the show. This is so cool to see it live. So there you go. I'm going to try and do more. We called it Ask a Traffic Cop After Dark. And in reality, it was 7 o'clock and it was still light out because time change is weird. And no one was ready for it. So it was like, it was kind of false advertising. I'm sure it was dark somewhere. Somewhere it was dark. P-Band says, I live in Ottawa. What's the best way for me to get into the police academy? What was your steps? First, I will sip on some coffee. It's just house blend from Costco, by the way. It's still okay. It's not great. I made it with a Keurig. Just saying. If you're a coffee person, I'm disappointing everybody today. And now it's cold. Okay. Steps to getting onto the job. Well, first of all, research, train, get into shape, continue your studies, be the best candidate, the most unique and best candidate you can be. Stay out of trouble, obviously. Keep your driving record clean because you cannot have more than 6 demerit points. And really, if you have 6 demerit points, I still question you. But in terms of getting in, there's lots of options. If you are capable of passing all the testing and requirements today and you want to take it, try, do it. There's no other thing you need to do other than go get hired. However, if you're not ready, or if you've been turned down because you are not, you don't have enough life experience, well, go get some life experience. Volunteer is huge. Start volunteering now. Don't just do it to check a box. Do it because you want to contribute to the community. Be an upstanding member of society and help the people that you want to get paid to help later. But help them. I think a great program is the auxiliary program. It not only exposes you to policing and gives you an idea of whether you actually want to be a police officer, but it also contributes in the most unique way. I think it's the best thing since sliced bread. Go volunteer as a police auxiliary if you can. If you're old enough, if you have a full G license, which is a requirement for policing, you have to be able to drive a car. Which people go, well, why? Because it's kind of like the thing you do as a police officer. But if you have more questions about becoming a police officer, um, first of all, read everything there is to know on the website for the police service you want to join. Check out other alternatives too. In Canada, you've got some great options. You can be an RCMP officer, a provincial officer, a municipal officer, and there are different types of policing in each scenario. You have the Toronto Police, or a municipal service where you're dealing with the place that possibly you grew up in and live in and love, which is what it was for me. I'm a Toronto kid. I wanted to contribute to my city. People say, why did you go OPP? Well, I'm not a rural guy. I don't fish. I don't hunt. I don't what am I going to do there on my lunch break? But there are people who very often come to the city, get a lot of experience, then go rural, where you can live, get the same pay as a city cop, but live for half the money, or at least less money. But you could also be an adventure seeker and go and join the RCMP and go uproot your life and go live in a different part of Canada and have an adventure. Like it's just different. So research all your options. Okay, moving on to traffic stuff and things. Oh, here's one. Can I drive a small electric mobility scooter car in Ontario without a license? There is a lot that you just said there, and let me put it onto the screen for everyone to see, because I'm not making fun of what you said. I want to be clear on it. The question was, can I drive a small electric mobility scooter car? It's a lot of words. They don't all go together. Mobility scooters are the things you see in hospitals and in retirement homes and in malls. They're small. They don't take up a very large footprint. You can drive around the Walmart in them. That is a mobility scooter. This abomination crap that people are trying to call mobility scooters. They have air conditioning and stereos and a roof and windows and a windshield wiper. That's not a mobility scooter. I'm just saying that's frustrating as all get out for me. It's not small. It's not legal. It is a motor vehicle of its kinds, and it's only legal on private property. If you're out there on the road driving a car or driving it as a car, but calling it a mobility scooter, it's still a car. Listen, an electric kick scooter, an e-kick scooter with a 500-watt motor and that goes more than 24 kilometers an hour isn't even legal for the road. What is that? Like, you gotta look at this and say it ain't it. Can you Instagram apparently can't hear. Let's test this out for a second. No, audio is going through. I just heard it back, so it might be on your end, the audio. Can nobody hear on Instagram? Because I just heard it back from the server, so it might be on your end. Maybe go out and come back in, or tap the screen to make sure that you have the audio turned on, because I can hear it, so it's working. But thank you for letting me know, Antel or Anti. I'll text since they can't hear me. Just tested, and it's working. As I'm telling them, might be on your end. They can't read my lips, and it's working here on Insta. The problem might be on your end. I gotta type this. The prob might be on your end. Okay. And yeah, then you've got the whole electric motorcycle situation that are being told, people are being told and spending thousands of dollars on these motorcycles that go 80 kilometers an hour, unless you turn the switch, and then it only goes 32. No, those are still illegal for the road. They're not legal. People are being sold a whack of stuff that's not legal for the road. They're getting into trouble. They're getting into collisions. They're not getting paid by insurance companies because they're on illegal vehicles. Get really spun up about that stuff because it's wrong. Sounds good on YouTube. Awesome. Love it when it works. What else is here? Okay, we're good there. There's if you want to talk about, I should do an episode just about mobility scooters, e-bikes, and e-kick scooters, because there are slow moving or slow speed motor vehicles that are under a pilot in the province of Ontario. This ain't that. We're not that. The fake mobility scooters are not those. So, not to mention the fact that they're super dangerous. A mobility scooter is not meant for the road. Okay. Gwen Johnson says, I worked insurance for almost 10 years. Always check with your insurance company first. Any mod can void your policy. Yes. Thank you very much for putting that on there. We should talk about insurance, man. I've never had an insurance person on the show. But they followed up to say, always check with your insurance company before making a modification. Yeah. I've heard of people, and there was a news article, and check it out. I think you'll be amazed. Someone put a custom exhaust system on their vehicle, and then the insurance company denied them like a write-off of the car. Well, you didn't tell us, so we're not covering it. Well, it was overturned in court later because they did cover it, and it was unreasonable because it didn't change the driving ability of the car. It just made noise. But just think that they could turn you down for anything. It's a legit problem. It's a legit risk you're taking. And for what? Now, I have opinions on modifications in that you have a vehicle you buy from a manufacturer and it is designed with millions of dollars in R&D to meet or exceed all of the requirements that government safety standards provide. And then you go and say, but I don't like that. I want to make it shorter, taller, wider, fluffier, sparklier. And you change things and you undo the millions of dollars in R&D and you make it your own. You make it special. It's unique. But is it safe? Well, you put yourself at risk. And I appreciate and love the idea of making something your own and representing your personality through your wheels. I'm a car guy. I'm a motorcycle guy. I get it. But I'm also an ex-cop who understands that that's not important in the real world. It's important at one point. Like I used to customize cars. I used to, put stereo systems in. Do you know what I do in cars now? I buy them, I drive them, I sell them. I don't care. I don't care. I don't put it. I used to put sound systems and woofers and tweeters and upgrades. And I don't even tint windows. A cup holder. I put an extra cup holder in my car. That's what I care about. Does that take? Do I have to hand back my car guy card? Anyway, what if you had your first collision after 23 years of driving? I have full coverage and first accident forgiveness. That's from Talon 401 East. Well, you thank your lucky stars that you have accident forgiveness because that happens once. And was it your fault? What happened? I mean, 23 years of driving, you get your first collision. You've done very well. Most people have some level of unwanted connection to other drivers much earlier than you have. So kudos to you for being a safe driver or at least avoiding collision. I can't say that what happened though? I want to know more. If it's a learning experience, it's rethink the whole situation. And the one thing you don't want to have it do is affect your self-confidence. You've done 23 years well. You'll do another 23 years now. This was a bump in the road. Okay. Gwyn says, points don't matter to insurance. A ticket is a ticket. Always fight tickets. Well, see, I have mixed emotions on that comment. So Gwyn says, always fight a ticket. And I appreciate that might work to protect yourself. I get it. But if you're guilty, you're now going to go and waste the court's time because you don't want to be held responsible. I get it. Everyone has a right to go to court. But you're just wasting taxpayer money. I'd sooner have you not break the law. Now, if you were in a collision and it was really the other guy's fault and you got charged and it's just the way that the cookie crumbled, fight that. But if you were speeding and you were doing 150 in a 50, negotiate for a better rate. But you did it. Like you shouldn't get out of that. You should be held responsible. I'm sorry. Anyway, but I get it. From the perspective of someone whose life is going to change because of a ticket, and it's going to go up and it's going to be hard. These are the wake up calls to say, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to change my behavior. And then I'm not going to let this. I got a couple of tickets when I was a kid. I was 16 years old. I got a ticket for speeding. I got a ticket for running a stop sign. I didn't even see the stop sign. I didn't even know the stop sign was there. I was trying to find someone's house. It changed my life. I did not get another one because I stopped for every stop sign I've ever seen since. I don't like tickets. BMAX says, for a professional driver, demerit points absolutely matter. That may be true. I've never looked at it from the perspective of the professional driver. Tell me how it impacts you guys. What changes for you? I mean, it points matter for any driver. They don't matter for the insurance. They matter for the driver's license and keeping it. So if you get to lose your license as a professional driver, or you won't be employed if you have points because your employer cares, that's different. I can appreciate that. Oh, Cambiz says, we're 11 minutes, 40 seconds into overtime. Cambiz Shaw says, please explain to people when they're driving they cannot go to the passing lane and drive 110. That's right. Because The speed limit is 100 in most cases. They can only do 100. And if they go to the passing lane and they're doing 110, they might be doing 10 kilometers over. So that's correct advice, Cambiz. You cannot speed legally. You're breaking the law, and you should get a ticket for it. Many people, I'm sure you didn't mean to have me say what I just said. You're probably saying 110 is too slow to be in the passing lane. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were going for that's too slow. Um, I'm the guy that would give you a ticket for doing 110 on the highway because you shouldn't be doing 110 on the highway. Speed limit is a speed limit is a speed limit. Unless you're talking about doing the speed limit in the passing lane, which I should again remind you, you're not allowed to exceed the speed limit for any reason. There's no exclusive justification. The only people who can exceed the posted speed limit are police, fire, and ambulance, and they have different qualifications for when they can do that. Police is actually anytime in the lawful execution of their duties, and the other folks, the fire and ambulance, can only do it when going to an active call or transporting a patient. Is OACP not pass and fail when it will? What is this? Is OACP not pass and fail? Will it be used against me if I score less in the interview? I don't know. I honestly don't. That's a great question for a recruiter. See, I answer the questions I know the answers to. And if it's something I can speculate, I'll tell you I'm speculating, but I can guesstimate that it's this based on experience. If I was asked a question about law and personal injury, I would tell you to talk to the folks at Diamond and Diamond Lawyers because they're the specialists when it comes to personal injury law. If you were asking about tax law, I'd tell you to go to Barrett Tax Law, Barrett Legal. If you wanted to get your will done, they have Lawyers and Lattes is another firm that's part of the whole Barrett umbrella, and they do wills. I would tell you to go to them. I'm the traffic guy. I talk to you about the traffic stuff. Recruiting stuff, that's a recruiting question. Really should be asked of them. Okay. Did I mention that Barrett Legal and Diamond and Diamond, they sponsor the show? They sponsor Better Traffic, which relates to sponsoring the organization that that hosts the show. Just saying. They're good people. Okay. Lars. Okay. Lars is almost right. And Lars says, used to see your video in an OPP uniform, still working, or started your own thing. So I've never been in an OPP uniform, ever in my whole life. I used to be with the Toronto Police, but I'm just playing. I catch it. I used to be in uniform, and it was up until the 24th of August, I want to say, when I left the Toronto Police Service. I have started my own thing. I left for family reasons. I'm doing this from the basement of my own home now, although I do have a studio outside. It's very convenient to walk downstairs and be online. That said, I did start my own thing. I co-founded something called Better Traffic. Better Traffic is a not-for-profit that wants to help educate the planet on traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. We just want to help people make roads safer. So the mission is to continue the show for as long as I can and help as many people as possible. Thank you for chiming in. Let's see here. Josh Vader says, I learned my lesson from speeding, but now go to the track. It helps, but wish it was more promoted. Yeah, tracks are awesome, especially in the States. There's a lot more accessible. There's more accessibility to local tracks in the United States. But anyone who wants to go fast, if you feel that urge, take it to the track. That's a Right Track Racing spiel. It's on their website. And are you a fisher? Are you an angler? Do you want to go to an event this weekend? Because they're doing something in Elliott Lake. ElliottLakeIcefishing.ca. Check it out if you're an angler and you want to go. I don't know if you're into the 5 to 7 hour drive from the GTA, but check it out. A film clapboard is the username. I started doing 5-hour volunteer work in a week. How many hour required to make my resume stronger for police? I don't have a specific number for you. Do it because you want to do it. Continue doing it as part of your lifestyle. Volunteerism is a great way, whether you want to be a police officer or not. Volunteering gives you more than you give it. It is so rewarding. I hit the microphone. Yeah. It's a way of being. Volunteering isn't just to make the resume stronger. It's to make you stronger, give you life experience, give you great stories. Like someone who just reads books, never goes outside of their house, you're not going to become a cop because you got no life experience. Just saying. Go out and meet people and talk to people, and you learn how to interact at a different level. You develop all sorts of skills and abilities, and that's what volunteerism gives to you, in addition to the fact that you get the rewarding feeling of helping people, which is wonderful. So just do it because it's the right thing to do, and don't worry about counting. Do as much as you can afford to do. Obviously, you can't give up working to volunteer. You need to, pay your bills, but you do as much as you can do, and whatever you can do is what you should be doing. What if I'm visiting from New York with my windshield tint, but have a prescription in New York and get pulled over here? That's an interesting question. So it's illegal to tint your windshield here, but you're from New York where it's legal. So in many laws are like for instance, you don't have a front plate if you're in, well, maybe you do. I don't think you have to have a front plate in New York, but I've seen people in some areas with, anyway, if you come here with no front plate, there is an exemption under law that allows you to drive here with no front plate. That law does not exist in Ontario law when it comes to tint. So the police officer may give you discretion. You might get pulled over, provide your letter, and you shouldn't have been allowed to drive into the country because your vehicle should be safe for the roads. That would be deemed not safe for the road. But since you're already in the country, what are they going to do? They're going to say, probably, well, you shouldn't be here. Now, they could say, we're pulling your plates unless you remove the tint, which is also possible, but unlikely, because we're probably going to be reasonable based on your situation. How long are you in the country? What's your situation? Don't drive at night. I don't know what they would tell you, but every police officer is going to handle it differently. But I'm glad you asked that question. It's always a good conversation. Talon says, I got a careless driving when I lost control on black ice, making a right and 5 points. I am fighting it. So that's so you got charged with careless driving when you lost control on black ice, making a right and 5 points. Well, here's the thing. What was careless about losing control on ice? Do you have a ticket? Do you have an ability to fight that? Yeah. Careless driving is a blanket charge that is overused, and the courts have said, don't use it. Like the courts, we're talking about 10 years ago, close of there. The courts said, we don't want you to use that all the time. Use the most appropriate charge, but police tend to, and prosecutors want you to write the charge that's easiest. Like what do you charge someone other than careless? Well, obviously, if you lost control, you were careless. You may have been going too fast for the road conditions. And that could have been careless, maybe. And chances are they're going to plead down to a lesser offense for you. But if you were doing a reasonable speed, and it was reasonable for every other part of the road, and in that area was invisible ice that you couldn't see, and you slid, and that resulted in a collision, was it really careless? I don't think it's a very strong case, personally. So good luck on you fighting it. I think you'll probably do well. I don't normally advocate for fighting tickets, but in that situation, I would, because how do you avoid the ice you couldn't see when the road was grippy everywhere? Everyone was doing regular speeds, and then there was a flash freeze. And how do you plan for everything? You can't. Is that careless? I don't think it is. Personally, I wouldn't have charged you for that. Just saying. Have you heard about tow wars in Scarborough? Any thoughts? Yeah, I've heard about tow wars, and it's not just in Scarborough; it's all over. It's unfortunate, when money is on the table, people and a specific something about the towing industry that is wrought with criminal activity. It's a problem. It's a big problem, and people are getting hurt, and vehicles are getting damaged, and houses are getting blown up, and stuff is happening. It's gross. They all need to grow up and realize that they're all fathers and mothers and sisters and brothers, and they just have to figure out how to cut the pie and stop the baloney. But like I've seen videos of CAA drivers, the auto club, being intimidated, where people are coming up with crowbars saying, "Get out of our jurisdiction." Like, come on, like this is dumb gang stuff, and I don't like it. Honda Mig says, if e-bikes aren't legal, then why don't police pull them over? I'm clicking your comment as though it's going to magically appear on my screen, because once upon a time it would, but no longer works. So instead I have to cut and paste, and here we go. No, that's not your comment. Here we go. Took a second to process. There we go. There we go. They do. I certainly did. Many of my colleagues still do. It all depends on the evidence that they have available to them and their availability to pull them over in the first place. Now, they're not going to pull over every e-bike. Not every e-bike is illegal. but ones that we see and get on laser speed measurement devices doing 80, 60, 50, any visual. If I see you going faster than 32 kilometers an hour, and I can clearly see that by way of pacing you. I mean, I've got video of guys in e-kick scooters from a couple days ago traveling on Yonge Street, just north of Steeles Avenue in Toronto, or I was York Region on that side of it. This e-kick scooter went up a hill at 40K or 50K. That is the maximum legal speed for that on a flat surface is 24 kilometers an hour. That's a motor vehicle. I would charge them for everything under the sun. Plus, once they got the Steeles, that becomes a prohibited vehicle. I think they're allowed in York Region, but they're not allowed in Toronto. I would pull them over and I'd charge them for everything I could. So, I'm already reading the next question. So I hope that answers your they do get regularly stopped and charged, and I'd like to see more of it. But here's the thing. They get away with it a lot because there's so many other charges and things that are prioritized. Nito is the username. A cop in my area and my mechanic said it's okay to drive without a front bumper cover. Is that true? The bumper is the absorbing material inside the bumper. Now, if the bumper cover protects the foam material, depending on what the bumper actually is, if it's a steel bumper, not a big deal. If it was a foam bumper, I would argue that having that exposed to the elements would make it degrade, thus making it unsafe. So I would still potentially charge them for it based on the whatever condition it was in. Like if I saw that if it just came off, I wouldn't give you a hard time. Because you were just in a collision, the cover came off, no problem. You're driving around with an exposed foam core bumper, it's degrading. It's the sun is going to destroy it. The elements are going to destroy it. I would say it's unsafe. I'm not a mechanic. I would lay the charge and let it work out in court because that's what happens. But I appreciate that on its face, it's not illegal. What else? Romy Dogra says, is it illegal to have a trespassers will be shot sign at my house? No weapons at my house. The sign is not illegal. It's in itself. You might end up getting investigated because of it, but it's not in itself illegal that I'm aware of. Oh, sorry. It says survivors will be prosecuted. Oh, Greg Marshall says, as long as it says survivors will be prosecuted. Yes. Listen, I love the concept that much of the states people are unhappy with, but I like the fact that they have castle principle, and I think that it should be the same here. It bugs me that it's not. People are afraid right now, and I think that is wrong. People shouldn't live in fear because bad guys have guns, and I don't appreciate the Liberal government imposing all sorts of rules and regulations on legal gun owners when it will do absolutely nothing to change crime. They know it. They're just lying to the public. It's gross. So gross. But I try not to make this a political show. Okay. Oh, I see Red Schofield is back to spam about things he cares about. Well, fill your boots. Sport Desk, follow the host. Hey, Jason, follow the host. Thank you for the follows. Hey, if you're watching, you don't know who I am. It obviously says so on the screen, but my name is Sean Shapiro, and I used to be a cop in Toronto, and now I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff online to help you out. So if you got questions, please ask them, because that's what I'm doing here. I'm here to help you out. We've been on for an hour and 25 minutes, which is 25 minutes longer than I thought it would be today, but if you got questions, I'm still here for you. I'm trying to work through some questions, and we're going to wrap it up soon. But before I do that, we're going to talk about dad jokes. And again, soon here. First, Honda Mig says, mods also have lots of R&D. The problem isn't the mod, it's the people that are irresponsible with them. Some mods have R&D in them. Some do. There are certainly professional mods, and if I suggested that wasn't the case, that wasn't my intention. There are obviously modifications that are legit. But when you buy the springs on Amazon from China, I'm saying that those are probably not the legit ones. Not because they're from China, not just because it's an Amazon. You know what I'm saying? Cheap stuff, not okay. Legit, stuff is legit stuff. Honda Meg says, my car is modified, but I did it in a way where it meets all government standards. And that is all you can ask for. If it's meeting or exceeding the standards, you're good. Mark Mick making fun of Red Schofield. Good for you. BMAC. Okay. So BMAC, who had made the comment saying for commercial drivers, points matter. He says mostly for employment. His employer has a maximum of 6 points policy, which I can appreciate. That could be one ticket, careless driving, 6 points. Uh, oh, Fresh Pot says, Sean, I've asked this before, but you cannot tell us that you never speed. I used to speed all the time as a police officer. I was legally entitled to. As a person who drives like everybody else, I have gone over the posted speed limit for a reason that I could justify if I had to. But generally speaking, no, I don't. I make great efforts to always be watching my speed. And if I got caught speeding when I wasn't supposed to because of an oopsie-doo, like I actually was over the limit on the 400 last week. I looked down and I was making the comment. This is what happened with my wife. I was making the comment that I never speed. I was having a dialogue about maybe it was your comment last time. And I said, it drives me crazy that people think I speed. She said, well, you are speeding. I'm like, what are you talking about? I never speed. She says, it's an 80 here. I'm like, what? The 400 had dropped to 80 for a section, and I didn't catch the sign. And I was doing 20 over momentarily, and I slowed down immediately. But, whoa. Yeah, so there you go. I make great efforts to drive safely and correctly at all times, and even I make a mistake once in a while. What happens if I get caught doing that? Well, I'm a grown-up, so I would take responsibility. And if I got caught speeding because I was doing the wrong thing, I'd pay my bloody ticket, and that would be the end of it. Scam call M3. Oh, sorry, Sam call M3. Sorry, I called you scam call, and that you can tell where my mind goes when I see certain words together. They said, I can exceed the posted limit when my life and family's life is in danger, family over laws. No, you cannot legally exceed the posted limit. You can break the law and hope that the person who is then enforcing the law understands the situation and gives you lenience, but you are not legally allowed to. There's no thing in law that says you can do what you want because you have a perception of breaking the law. We were talking about Frank Slope earlier from the Pinal County in Arizona. He's in the sheriff's office there. He pulled over a guy in a bug. I saw this video recently, it may have been old. And he says, well, I was being followed. He says, I was behind you for like a gob's amount of time and no one was following you. So people come up with this stuff like, I'm just going to just say I was being chased. I was in danger. And let's say you're going to the hospital, you're racing to get someone, your friend's bleeding out. Call an ambulance. Take direction from the dispatcher who will tell you exactly what to do. They'll either tell you, pull over, we have an ambulance coming, or continue at the speed limit to the next intersection where we have an ambulance going to meet you there, or whatever the case is, but you follow directions. You don't just take matters into your own hand. You know why? Because you may not actually get to the hospital. You may not make it to the emergency. It's bull. People make excuses and justifications, but it's not okay to break the law and risk everybody else because you've got stuff going on. You're not more important than anybody else. In your mind, you are. In the current situation, you're in a crisis mode, crazy high. However, that does not give you a license to get into a collision or to risk getting into a collision or to risk anybody else's life. We talk about guaranteed arrival in policing. What does that mean? It means if you don't get there, you can't help anybody. So if you speed recklessly to get somewhere because the speed limit doesn't matter when you're in an emergency personally, like, no, because when you become a patient yourself because you caused a collision, now there's 3 ambulances that have to come respond to you and you were just trying to get to somebody else. It's really dumb. It's really, really dumb. Now, people always say, well, I live in rural wherever I am and an ambulance is 2 hours away. Okay, drive the speed limit. There's no reason to go faster. You're not going to get there that much faster. And you must always get emergency services involved to coordinate how you're going to do that. And Romy Dogra says, not just your life in danger when you do that. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Talon says, I can hear the Diamond and Diamond commercial in your mind when you see the logo or when I talk about it. That's too funny. I think I should do the voiceover for Diamond and Diamond. What do you think? Diamond and Diamond. Our tinted plate fines enforced, seeing it a lot lately. That's from Avman. And the answer is yes. The tickets for tinted plate covers, for clear plate covers, for tinted for any frame at all of those are enforced. And is it the highest priority ticket on the road? No. Speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving. These are all things that take priority. They're the big 4 that lead to serious injury and death on the roads. And that's the priority for police. But does it happen that They get pulled over for speeding and they get the ticket for the license plate frame, or there's nothing going on. The driver, the police officers on the road cannot see the plate. It's dark and it's obscuring the plate. Yeah, absolutely. And with ALPR, automated license plate readers on all police cars now, almost all police cars, those only work when they can read the plate. Thus, a police officer who stops you and charges you for that $110 fine to get that removed is doing God's work, is making sure that the LPR works properly. Because when we're looking for somebody and their plate is covered, that's a problem. When there's an Amber Alert and someone's taken a kid, which is what Amber Alert's generally about, it is a problem that we can't read some plates. So nobody should have those because then they blend in better. We want to make sure nobody has them. Oliver the Cat wants to know, is excessive noise just up to the officer's opinion? Car passes emissions and noise, but I get pulled often. So yes, it may pass emission and noise at idle, but it makes unnecessary noise when driving. Usually unnecessary noise is driving behavior. It's not just driving. It's driving behavior that is revving or letting the RPMs go higher than they should. It's unnecessary. It's not required. The car can be driven without that, or you've modified it to be louder, and then it becomes unnecessary. In the city of Toronto, there's a bylaw. If you're over 92 decibels at idle, it's a $500 fine. If you are 96 or above decibels at anything other than idle, meaning you put any amount of gas on into the engine beyond idle and it breaks, it's $500 fine. For unnecessary noise or excessive noise, it's unnecessary noise. That could be by defect, it could be by modification, it could be by driver behavior that would trigger that, and it is entirely subjective. So I usually say and like to say, if your grandma thinks it's too loud, it's too loud. If your grandma has got tattoos and thinks it sounds cool, talk to somebody else who's more conservative. Miles says, decline the person from the country for the tint. I would. Why would I let someone come in with an unsafe vehicle? Josh Vader says, I've driven lots in Ontario, but my home city arguably is worse. Bad design, maintaining. Oh, Stratford. I've got some connection to Stratford, Ontario. I've got family in Stratford. I haven't seen them in ages, but I've got family in Stratford. Josh, did we ever talk about that when we met at the auto show? I don't think we did. But yeah, I've got a long-standing family history in Stratford. Funny. We'll have to talk about that, Josh. Talon says, thank you, Officer Sean, for the information. Officer Sean seems weird because I'm former Officer Sean. I don't know. I've dropped the officer thing. But thank you for saying that. It's just weird. It triggered a whole bunch of things. I haven't used officer to describe myself in a while. Former officer. Well, maybe I guess so. That's what is this? When doesn't the government regulate the trucking schools in Ontario? I don't know. Carlos says, why don't COPPA stop the ton of cars driving with blacked out plates? They should, but police resources have to be spent on the most serious offenses first. Hardik Patel says, can I drive my friend's car? I don't have a car, but my name is on my brother's car insurance. So, excuse me, you want to drive your friend's car, but you're an occasional driver on your brother's car. You're a licensed driver and your friend's car is insured, then the answer is yes, occasional or a temporary permission to give you the car to use is legal. Driving it every day is a problem because the insurance company will want you on that car for insurance. But it's perfectly legal to lend your car now and again to a friend. You lend your insurance when that happens. So when police come into play, we pull you over, you give proof of insurance for that vehicle and your license, you'd be on your way with your ticket if you did something wrong. When it comes to the insurance company, if you are excluded from the policy, because let's say they say nobody under the age of 25 can drive this car, then you would be excluded and the insurance policy wouldn't cover you in the event of a collision, but you would be lawfully driving, but the insurance would be not covering you for the comprehensive coverage or the collision coverage. Josh says, first Peter the Husky says, hey Sean, is it illegal to back out of your driveway? I had a city worker who blocked my view, tell me he was against MTO. There is or was a rule about backing onto main streets. Is it enforced? I don't believe it is. I don't think it's HTA. I think it's city bylaw. But you know what? Let me look at my listing of HTA stuff. Apparently, I need to update my database here. Stand by. In the meantime, while I'm looking this up, feel free to follow the channel, share the channel, like the channel. And if you don't already follow me on YouTube, please do. I'm trying to get the numbers up on YouTube. I'm under 300 right now. I really need to get to 1,000 so that I can start getting into that whole partner program where I can get support and things like that and help grow the channel. So it would be very helpful if you would be so kind. VoiceOver copy is the channel. Okay, we're talking about backing on roadway. No, it's backing on a divided highway. Reversing. I know it exists somewhere. It's just a matter of where. Not in the HTA that I can see it. Oh, by the way, I just got a message from the producer at News Talk 1010. Friday's show at 10:35. I'll be joining Jerry Yeager on News Talk 1010 talking about what I do here. And I'll be doing it as part of the live stream. So if you got time, join the live on Friday. And we start at 10 a.m. and at 10:35 we'll be joined on air by Jerry. And then, of course, we'll continue the conversation and take questions from his studio audience. We'll take phone calls. You'll be able to call into the station to make those questions and be heard on the radio. Possibly have a conversation with me on air, which is always cool. But the deal is that's Friday, 10 o'clock. We go live. 10:35 we'll be on with Jerry. And I squirreled. Okay, hang on a second. Here we go. If Sergeant Campbell is watching, he'd be like, squirrel. All right, let's see here. Let's see. We'll check the database of Toronto. Toronto bylaw that prohibits you have to yield from a private drive. Things is laws change, so while I have a distinct memory of looking this up at one point in my history, it may have been changed to simply that you must yield from private drive, which is still on the books. Onto a main street. Oshawa Emergency Photography, I see you joined. How's it going? I see you. In Toronto, there isn't a specific bylaw that universally prohibits reversing out of a driveway. However, there's a city zoning bylaw that regulates driveway designs to ensure safety and proper traffic flow, blah, blah, blah. Reverse slope of driveway. So there's a design thing. Huh. And if we look at the law about yield from private drive, private yield from private driveway, fail to yield. So it says here, every driver or streetcar operator entering a highway from a private road or driveway shall yield the right of way to all traffic approaching on the highway so closely that to enter would constitute an immediate hazard. I dropped my water. Beautiful Daughters 1 says, is there anything we can do besides reaching out to recruiters to really stand out as an applicant? Thanks again for the amazing content. Thank you for the thank you. I appreciate you. There's a lot of things you can do to stand out, and contacting the recruiter is not the way to do it. Obviously, creating a relationship, developing a relationship with a recruiter is fantastic, and that helps to get information and develop that relationship, which may in turn help you, but you don't want to rely on that. So what you want to do is make yourself the most unique applicant possible. Be involved with all their practice sessions and all their recruiting sessions. So you again get that face time. But calling them isn't the way to do it. Volunteer. Develop a great relationship in volunteerism. Then also, go to events, police events. If they're holding a barbecue, go to a barbecue. Just get to meet people, know people. But volunteering, legit volunteering, giving to your community is huge. That's the way to do it. I really, really support volunteering. And if you're not, I said this earlier, and I know you just jumped in recently. I think you jumped in recently. Volunteering with the auxiliary program is a great way to go as well. But volunteering in any way is a good way to go. And know your stuff. And continuously develop with education. So if you get a chance to take a second language or third language or sign language, whatever language you want to learn, take a course, take community course, learn anything. Show that you're continuously developing yourself, make yourself unique. Hobbies, share your hobbies. Are you into 3D printing? Share that, like learn about it because it becomes interesting conversation and may develop into a conversation. Speaking of hobbies, I have forever wanted to become a ham radio operator, an amateur radio operator. I wanted to get my license about 30 years ago, and life got in the way. 25 years of policing and just other stuff. I never took the course. I never bought a radio, but I never took the course, and now I want to do it. Have you ever thought about getting your ham license? Do you even know what a ham license is? We're going to talk about that more. Especially, I'll be sharing the content as I take the course, and I'll be studying it, and I'll just be geeking out about radio stuff. But amateur radio is real and still very popular around the world. I totally squirreled in that conversation, but whatever. What do we got here? Okay. Peter Husky says that's a highway, not in a neighborhood. Correct? No, a highway is any road in the province of Ontario that is owned, operated, and assumed by the city. So if it's the street you live on, if it's Bob Street and Bob Street is a real street and they have garbage collection and snow removal, that's a highway in the province of Ontario. Toronto Slice. I don't know what your username is. I'm trying to read it from here. Is there anything I can do to get MTO to reinstate my license that was suspended for medical reasons? You need to talk to them. It's possible if you get a doctor to overturn your suspension because the medical reasons are no longer there, then you could then take that to them. Greg Marshall says you need doctor's note and you will have to go through a whole licensing process. Toronto, they follow up and said all documents needed was sent by doctor, now being 47 days to review. It's a process. It's the government. Don't expect fast stuff. Okay, we are up to date on stuff and things. All the questions seem to be answered, and we're going to talk about dad jokes. So, let's see here. Why shouldn't you write with a broken pen? This is from Bernhard. Why shouldn't you write with a broken pen? Because it's pointless. I like that. A horse walks into a bar. Hey, says the bartender. No, just a beer, says the horse. I already ate. I'll give it the bum. Is there a proper terminology for this? It's the snare and hi-hat, but is there bum? Is that anyway? The drums. All right. Hey, no, just a beer. Yeah, I like it. It's a little dry, but I like it. Star Wars dad joke. Jedi aren't angry when they lose their lightsabers, but they are delighted. They're delighted. Lightsabers. No lightsaber. I'd be angry, but I get delighted. I like it. I need to get my Chewbacca sounds loaded into the soundboard again. I miss Chewie. All right. Dad joke. Everyone knows Alan Turing, the genius mathematician and code cracker, but nobody has heard of his sister, Kate Turing, who ran a successful food delivery service. Oh, please tell me everyone got that. Alan Turing, and Kate Turing, catering. That was a creeper, but it was good. Was he actually Alan Turing was he the chap behind the what's it called, the code or what is it called? It is. I saw the movie. I had to Enigma, the Enigma machine, isn't it? Have I got that right, Akila? Why is it unwise to share your secrets? Secrets? Why is it? Now I got the giggles. Why is it unwise to share your secrets with a clock? Time will tell. Because time will tell. Ooh, another Star Wars. Princess Leia thought she saw her brother, but it was a lookalike. It was a lookalike. Seriously, Kayla, you've been holding back. These are the best ones you've shared in a long time. They're like there's some winners here. He also has a quote. Courage is the commitment to begin without any guarantee of success, by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. I hope I pronounced that right. Goethe? Goethe? I don't know how to pronounce that. Beautiful Daughters 1 says, yes, no idea. What is it? This is no idea, shrug, what it is. This is great advice. Currently volunteering at Darling Home for Kids in Georgetown. Awesome job here. Fantastic. Yeah, if you ever have questions, you're going through the process. If you have questions, feel free to DM me. I do try and respond to all DMs. It takes a while, so it's not instant, but I think I shocked someone. They DM'd me while I was looking at the phone. It popped up, and I responded immediately. I'm like, whoa! It's true. Sometimes there is no wait. It just happened to work out that way. But that's it. That's all. If you do have questions, you feel free to leave them in chat. Feel free to DM, as I mentioned. But you can also leave them in comments of other videos. Please share the videos that I produce. Please share lives. Please talk about me and my content with your friends, with people who are, becoming licensed in the future. I hope to help the new drivers, and that's a bit, not nude drivers. Get your head out of the gutter. New drivers, people who are interested in becoming licensed. That is a thing. Helping the new kids on the block get their license and be safe drivers. That's a big thing for me. Rimshot. That's the name for it. Thank you. Okay. I'm out of here. Hour and 48 minutes. I haven't done a long one in a while, so this is good. I'll be back Friday, unless I decide to randomly choose to stream in an evening soon for an After Dark version or message. But otherwise you'll see me at 10 o'clock on Friday morning for a Friday episode. And at 10:35, we'll be joined by News Talk 1010's Jerry Agar on the Jerry Agar Show, where we'll have his live commentary and questions and call-ins from his audience. I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, drive safe, drive sober, drive legally, park legally. Just be a good human. And good things usually come to those who are good humans. I'm going to let the theme music go again.
Traffic